What's up, everybody? It's your boy, that inexplicable feeling that you get every few months or so that's absolutely inescapable and that turns the voice in your head from a quiet narrator into an evil witch that won't leave you alone and incessantly whispers at you all day, "Rearrange your room. You need new shelves. What if your bed was on the wall adjacent to the window?" AKA Reed from Shameless Nerd. Today's video is about how to find your sense of childlike wonder again. If you would like to support the channel and what I do, the best way to do that is to click that join button right down there and become a member of the channel. I currently have one member. It's one of my best friends. His name is Macy. I love him very much. You could join him. He's a cool dude. The three of us could get in the exclusive Shameless Nerd Discord chat together and discuss Pokemon or something. It could be fun. Okay, you'll never know unless you click that join button. Okay, let's get into it. My first video is titled How to Get Your Childhood Brain Back. This is a follow-up to that video with the goal of making some clarifications, refining some of the points I made in that video, and providing some more detail to some of the things in that video. For example, one of the most frequent comments that I have on that video is for me to go into detail about how I use all of the little notebooks that I have in my purse that I now carry with me to replace my phone. In this video, I'll talk more about that, as well as the purpose of doing all this, how it's affected me now that it's been a few months since I started really committing to this as a lifestyle, things like that. First of all, I want to clarify my position. There are a ton of creators on YouTube that talk about digital minimalism. They talk about giving up their phones, getting a dumb phone, giving up technology entirely, and they get all high and mighty and preachy about how technology is so evil, and they have "not all who wander are lost" stickers on their Jeeps, and they tell you that you need to live in the woods. This is not my philosophy. I think what resonated with people in that initial video, which you should check out up here if you want to, after this one, oh God, please, no, I only exist in this square. If you click off this video, I go back into the liminal space between existence and death until you turn me back on, please, no, oh God. I think what resonated with people in my first video was my motivation and the subtle difference in what I'm suggesting and that sort of evangelical kind of esoteric mysticism about digital minimalism that a lot of these YouTubers have. First of all, I love technology. I love video games and computers and TV and electronics, and my YouTube history is absolutely full of, well, right now, mostly those videos of people making portable GameCubes and modernizing classic consoles with modifications and stuff. What I don't love is the inarguably predatory nature of the modern internet. Even YouTube, which I still absolutely watch and have spent now almost 20 years of my life with, even YouTube, but especially social media, the places on the internet where now most people spend probably 90% of their time online, are algorithmically designed for the sole purpose of maximizing time spent on the app. This is not conspiracy. This is not exaggeration. This is self-evident, and it's even explicitly stated by a lot of the CEOs of these companies themselves. When you get on Instagram, the entirety of the design of that application is scientifically, masterfully formulated to keep you scrolling it. And we're learning more and more that this endless scrolling is terrible for our brains, our mental health, absolutely, but our actual brains, the way our brains function, our ability to learn new things, the literal plasticity of our brain matter. The infinite timeline of scrolling is, on a brain scan, literally indistinguishable from the chemical effects of cocaine in our brains. Obviously, cocaine is bad for many other reasons than just its effects on the brain, but I don't think there's anyone out there who's not like actively currently on cocaine who would argue that cocaine would be good for your brain if it wasn't bad for your heart or whatever, because it's not. And that whole concept is not. Using external sources to regulate your internal makeup is inherently bad for you. Whether it's drugs, food, gambling, doom scrolling, tricking your brain into constantly lighting up its pleasure and reward centers is horrible. And that's why it's bad for our mental health in the abstract sense when we talk about anxiety or depression, etc. It's because there is a physiological phenomenon taking place. It's not that social media makes you sad, it's that social media makes you sad. And that's what I'm endeavoring to avoid, and I have overcome in a lot of ways. I don't call what I'm doing digital minimalism. I call it minimal maximalism. I love stuff. I'm not giving up all my stuff. I have too much stuff that I like. Look behind me. By the way, I just put the shelf in my room thanks to the witch in my head yelling at me to rearrange things. This is just stuff that I love, and a lot of it is tech stuff. I've got this old camcorder that I use to film music videos and get a certain look, a bunch of like Pokemon stuff. Right next to me, I've got my Nintendo portable game console collection. Like, look at this thing. Like, look at how cool this Game Boy Color is. It has a camera on it. This thing is from 1998 and it took selfies. That's so cool. I'm not getting rid of this thing. The goal is not to disconnect from the modern world. It's to make the modern world work for us again. My goal is to have an idea or desire and then go get the thing I need to make that happen and then do the thing. I no longer allow technology to weaponize my brain chemistry against me. I give my attention to things if I want to give it to them. And I set ground rules for myself to protect myself from myself. In other words, before I got my flip phone, which for those of you asking in the comments on the first video is a Sunbeam Horizon Pro. I'll link to the website in the description. It's awesome. I'll do a video on just the phone later, but I don't want to focus on just the phone right now. Before I got my flip phone, my iPhone was in my pocket all the time. And I had things I told myself I needed to use it for, but my phone was designed to be used and relied upon, not to sit in my pocket until I had a reason for it. It pings you with notifications every 20 seconds. Oh, look, the Burger King app just sent me a reminder that they sell burger. When you get your iPhone out because you want to take a picture of something, be honest with yourself. What happens? Maybe not every time, but a lot of the time, what happens? You take the picture, you look at it for a while, and then you send it to your friends via iMessage. You close that out and then pop it on Facebook, and then you have some notifications, so you clear those out. Then you go to put it on your Snapchat story, and you spend 10 minutes making the perfect caption. And then you're on Snapchat, so you check some other people's stories, and then you close it, and you see all those absolutely cancerous Snap Spotlight stories or whatever, and it's like, best burger hack ever. And you click it, and it's some goofy 40-year-old guy in an LA mansion using a waffle press to make a burger, and it comes out looking like shit, and you're mad about the presentation of the video and how it's lying to you, but being mad about how stupid the idea was is why you had to watch the whole thing in the first place to find out how it looked in the end. And then you close Snapchat and you see your friend responded to your picture. You text her back and she says, yeah, girl, we need a beach trip again. And so you open Airbnb and you start looking at places, but they're all too expensive. So you Google Airbnb or Vrbo, and then you see a news article about how Airbnb is destroying the housing market. Oh, wait, no one wants to talk about that. My point is that our phones, and social media in particular, do too much stuff. And I don't want a thing on me to be constantly trying to steal me away from real life. If something cool is happening to me and I want to try to capture that moment with a picture, I want to have that thought, grab my camera, take the picture, and then get back to experiencing the thing that I thought was cool enough to capture in the first place. One more point, and then I'll talk about the specifics of what's in my bag and how I use it all and pros and cons and stuff. But this was one of the final straws for me before I started trying to digital detox or whatever you want to call it. A study published in the journal Education Psychology, I'm a teacher and I read all kinds of nerdy stuff like that, had two groups of students take a class, right? Both taught the same way by the same teacher. But one group was allowed to have electronic devices, phones and computers, in the classroom, and the other was not allowed to bring them in at all, their phones or their computers. As you might imagine, the students who used their phones during class scored lower on comprehension tests during the course as well as the final exam, which is already proof enough, really. But the craziest thing is that students who had their phone on them and didn't even use them scored lower on comprehension tests and the final exam. This was puzzling to the researchers, so they did the study again and they made some minor tweaks. And the biggest one was that for a group of students, they allowed some of those who previously didn't have their phones on them in class to take the final with their phones in their pockets. Not like use them, but just have them in their pockets. And they did the inverse of this. Some of the students who were allowed their phones in class were then required to keep their phones outside of the room while they took the final exam. And guess what? The students who had their phones in their pockets during the exam did worse than the students in the same no phone class. And the students who were not allowed their phones did better than the students in their same phones allowed class. In other words, just having your phone in your pocket on your person makes you perform more poorly on cognitive tests, even if you're not using it. And one of the administrators of the study explained it like this. I'm paraphrasing because it's a long quote, but if you were at dinner and you had a table of your closest friends and family or your partner or whoever sitting at this table with you at dinner, but you also had a giant wheelbarrow next to you, and in the wheelbarrow was a print of every photo ever taken of you or taken by you, a free DVD copy of every movie ever made, CDs of every album ever released, hard copies of every video game ever made, naked pictures and videos of every celebrity, and encyclopedias containing all of the known information in the universe, how well do you think you would pay attention to your friends at dinner? Would you not be distracted by just the thought of this giant wheelbarrow sitting next to you? Wouldn't you want to rummage through it? Our phones are distracting us even when we're not using them. Our subconscious is distracted by the thought of what could be next on the phone, what we could see and do next on the phone given the infinite possibilities, and that is horrifying to me. So what do we do about it? Well, like I talked about in the first video, we have to get bored again. Nothing is fun when all you do is have fun. That's why the Easterlin paradox exists. So we have to get bored again. If you're bored, it sounds more fun and feels more fun to do things that take a little bit of effort but are way more fulfilling, and that will make us feel better. That's what we're chasing. But it's very hard to be bored when we have the wheelbarrow. So we get rid of it and we get like a basket. It can carry some stuff, but not all the stuff that the wheelbarrow can, and it's way less exciting. This is the most radical thing that I've done, getting the flip phone, but I still have my iPhone. It's right here. See, it's still charged. Sometimes I have to scan a QR code or something, or use my bank app. So I still have my iPhone, but I keep it at home. I've discontinued service on it. And if I have to use it, I'll get it out of the drawer and use it for whatever, but I keep it on the other side of the house, right? I don't have it in the room with me while I take the final exam, you know what I mean? And I don't take it with me anywhere or use it for anything other than when I have to use it as a tool. And in the bag that I now carry with me in lieu of the phone, I've decentralized all of the things that my phone did. And in honesty, pretty much everything the iPhone can do, I can still do. It's just different and a little bit more inconvenient. And I'm telling you, that is enough. You don't have to give everything up. You don't have to live in the 1800s to feel human again. You just need a little bit of inconvenience built back into your life. I'm telling you, I'm not raw dogging a cross-country flight, okay? I'm not sitting in a doctor's office lobby staring at the wall like a Skyrim NPC. I love to distract myself because there are a ton of things that I love, and the difference is subtle, but these things are not similar to doom scrolling on social media at all. I have plenty of ways in my bag of tricks to distract myself. They're just things that I like instead of things that keep me busy. I don't think anyone likes Facebook. It's just the easiest thing to do, and we just do it on autopilot. And the biggest difference maker in your life is just turning off autopilot. So this is what's in my bag everywhere I go. First of all, this is my Nintendo DS Lite from 2006, but look how beautiful this thing is and how modern it still looks for 2006. Are you kidding me? And I've soft modded it, so it has on it at the top a picture of my son that I put on here, and then it also has every game that I could ever want to play. I could do a longer video on just this thing and how awesome it is and how to do it and all that later, but it's awesome. I love it. I always have at least one book. I'm still reading the book I mentioned in the first video. It's called Scythe. It's a YA fiction dystopian novel. It's really good. I highly recommend it. I have my iPod Mini 2004. It's the most beautiful piece of tech ever made. Another thing that I've modded. I replaced the battery so it doesn't die in 6 hours like they did in 2004. And I replaced this hard drive, which is just crazy. Like, this is a literal hard drive like you would see if you took apart your computer. It's just smaller. There's a fan in here. And I replaced it with flash storage, so now I think it has like a 64 gig micro SD card in here, but I got to spend countless hours reamassing a music collection again like we used to in the olden days, and it's mine, and it's not going to be taken down from Spotify and stolen from me at random. It's awesome. And I have these really nice IEMs, which are just fancy headphones. So listening to music is a little more inconvenient, but it makes it special again. I've listened to songs on these stupid headphones. They're like $120. They're nice headphones, but they're not like, you know, some audiophile extreme like headphone 10,000s or whatever. And I've noticed things in songs that I've listened to for 15 years that I've never heard before. And that's a really special and fun experience. And then I have my camcorder, but I use that to film these videos. It's sitting right there. I have several chargers for my phone, my DS, my camcorder, some chapsticks. Sometimes I have candy in there. And then I have my notebooks. For the sake of this video, which is already getting long, I'm not going to go into like supreme detail right now, but I'll talk a little bit about why there are 6 of them. And I promise I will do a full notebook only video at some point. I just have a lot to say right now, and I'm too excited about the big picture stuff to focus on that right now, and I'm sorry, okay? But anyway, I have these 6 notebooks that I keep with me. These are the small moleskin notebooks. They're called cashier journals, I think. They're more expensive than they should be, frankly, but they're still pretty cheap. Like, I think a pack of 3 is $20 or so. And they're thin, which was important to me because I wanted to have several separate ones. They're lined paper. Like, I'll open one from the back to kind of show you that, if you can see here. And again, I'll do a video in more detail later, but they're lined. And so, yeah, so what do I do with them? Well, I'll just give you like a quick rundown. The 3 little ones are for ideas and stuff, stuff that makes sense to, you know, like be in a smaller notebook. And the first one is just a to-do. I have on the front, it says to-do to remember. This is just like, you know, if I'm in a meeting at work and I have to take down notes, or like if, you know, I got to take the trash out today or whatever. And I just date the pages and it's just a to-do list. Okay, I don't need to explain to you what a to-do list is. You guys are smart, obviously, because you're watching Shameless Nerd. I'm kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding about the fact that you're smart. I'm sure that you are. You know what I'm saying. I have this one, which is I have labeled poem/video/song ideas. And so this is like I'll constantly, if I have an idea for something, I'll just put it down real simply, like just a list of ideas, so I don't, lose the idea of something that I have for a video. And I keep it to, that's the only thing that I put in here. And then this one, I have a little doodle on the front of, which I'm not going to give you the detail of because I'm embarrassed by how goofy it looks. And it's just doodles. So in this one, I put just doodles that I make. I like to draw. Maybe at some point I'll muster up the courage to like thumb through these in actual detail and show you guys some stuff, but it's just doodles. And it's fun to look through and look back at, but it's not artwork that I take very seriously. It's just like little absent-minded doodles that I'll do like sometimes when I should be taking notes in a meeting or whatever. I have the 3 bigger notebooks. This one is very simple. This one is poems. I write a lot of poetry. I'm trying to get a poetry like book published, but that's really, really hard. I'll probably end up like self-publishing it because you have to like publish individual poems, and it's just, I don't want to publish independently like individual poems. I just want to put like a whole work out of whatever. But anyway, so this is just full poems that I'll write and I'll mark up and make them ugly, and then I type them up later and make them look all neat and pretty and rupee-kari. Then this one is, I label this one quote commentary. This is similar to like the idea of like a commonplace book, I think, maybe. I don't know. Park Notes is a YouTube channel that I'll link to that does some really cool videos about how to use notebook, how to make a commonplace book and all these different types of like notebooks you do. Basically, this, for me, what I do in this book is if I'm reading a book or listening to a podcast or watching a YouTube video or anything like informational, or I hear something in passing that I think is cool, whatever, I'll write down the quote at the top of a page. And then the rest of that page, I just kind of write a little bit about like what that quote means to me or why I thought it was interesting, or kind of you contextualize it so that it makes sense to me if I'm looking back at it. And then occasionally, like instead of opening my book or the DS or my iPod or whatever, I'll pull this out and kind of just like reflect. I guess that sounds so like egotistical or whatever, but like reflect on what it is, what the quote is and what it means or whatever. And then I kind of use this to like guide the research for some of my videos. I use this for, just like ideas. I'm interested in philosophy and stuff like that. And so I'll look back at Rene Descartes quotes and kind of get all nerdy about what I think about what they think about, who thought about the thoughts that whatever. And then this one is my favorite one. This is the one that's most important to me. This one is titled Ezra, which is my son's name. He's 3. And in this book, in this notebook, I just write down any fun thing that he says or does, or, anything that happens that I didn't happen to catch on video. Like to be able to give him this notebook, or maybe like a digitized version of it at some point when he's older, or, if God forbid something ever happens to me, like I just think that is like a really cool gift. And it's just something that I can look back and have like a tangible thing in my hands that reminds me like, oh, dude, a year and a half ago, when he was a year and a half, I would never remember some of the things that he did that, I wish that I had this notebook to have put that in there and look back at, but I'll have it, covering the last 6 months or whatever, however long it's been. So yeah, those are my notebooks. That's a little more detail about the kind of stuff that decentralizing my phone has sort of forced me to carry around with me. But it's also kind of nice to have a bag. Like as a guy, I don't have a ton of space in my pockets all the time. It's nice to have a bag with me to throw stuff in. I think it looks kind of cool, to be honest. This is the bag. I think it was $30 on Amazon. I got it for Christmas, so I don't know, I can't like link to it specifically, but it's Mactso, M-A-C-T-S-O. Mactso. What a terrible name for a company. I don't know if I want to support them, but I think it looks kind of cool, and it like completes some outfits. Oh God, that is so gross to say, but I mean, it's true. I do think that. Ultimately, whatever. I just wanted to go into a little bit more details and reiterate that my pursuit, and the pursuit that I think most people should try to have, is about moderation. I made a video all about moderation that you can watch right here. Hey. It's about, like I said in the last video, using the internet like a newspaper. I open it when I want to, I catch up, and then I fold it up and I put it away. And with everything else, I relegate technology back to a place of being what it should be, a tool to aid me in real life or to have fun. You're not having fun on TikTok. You're not having fun on Instagram. You're just not. It's a hard pill to swallow, and it was for me too, but you're just not. I had that DS for 2 years. My girlfriend got it for Christmas for me 2 years ago. And after I modded it and I put all this work into making it perfect and getting all these games I wanted to play and that I was so passionate about and having put on it, I didn't touch it. For 2 years, I didn't touch it. If there was ever a dull second in my day, I just absentmindedly pulled out my phone and started scrolling through stuff. I am a musician. I make music. It's the thing that I'm most passionate about in the entire world, and I had entirely stopped listening to music. You can't listen to music and scroll through Instagram or TikTok. I'm an English teacher. Literally, I am an English teacher, and I didn't read books for years. Bro, those are my 3 favorite things in the world. Those are the 3 things that make me the happiest, that I want to spend my time doing. And for years, I wasn't doing them because of the wheelbarrow. So, do you need to live in the woods? Maybe, but probably not. However, do you need the wheelbarrow? No. Get a little bag, put in it the stuff that you can carry, and leave the wheelbarrow behind. Thanks for watching. See y'all next time.